Jonathan, I believe 11 starts and 15 appearances for you last year. How much did last season sort of improve your confidence as a player and develop you?
Well, even before last season, I've always been a pretty confident player. I work hard, do my due diligence. I put the work in off the field and in the field in the weight room. But that definitely is a great season to have under your belt. Just to add that, to the bag. Just building off of that, of course, you have my stats that I made. I'm just trying to, better myself off of those and just continue to develop as a player and as a young man.
We'll go over here on the back row to the right side.
Right here. So with the loss that you had last season against Alabama in the national championship, what is like your mental preparation going into the new season?
Every day's a work day, really no days off. After a loss like that, coming down to the last seconds, you really just start to see that, football really is truly a game of inches. And, any given Saturday, any given moment, something different can happen to change the outcome of a game. So you want to, make sure you prepare and do your best to make sure you are that difference maker, that, you put your team in the best position, to win a game. And I think we're just taking it one day at a time and making sure, every day is its own day, and you put as much work in as you can, and you just kind of double those days up and just continue to do it until you get where you want to be.
We'll go on the front row, left side, all the way to the end.
So we just talked to J.R. Reed. How have you seen him grow since he got on campus a couple of years ago?
I got that question earlier today, and honestly, I think he's always been a tremendous athlete even before he got to Georgia. I mean, he was at Tulsa, and he may not have played much. He might have been on special teams, but I've seen his tape. You know an athlete when you see one, and so does Coach Smart. That's why he recruited him. He's doing well for us, and he works. He's a workhorse. I mean, that's a bad man if I ever seen one. And he's all the stuff that he's receiving now and all the credit and everything should have been received a long time ago because he's been that player. And he just continues to get better every day, just like everybody else on our team.
Go right here on the front row to the right side.
Just talked with Kirby, and he was talking about how much the loss to Alabama is fuel for the players. So this is a two-part question. One, how much did that loss hurt and stick with you guys, and how much fuel is that loss for going into this season?
I mean, well, every season is long, but when you start getting into like the college playoffs and, especially when you make it to the national championship and you're in that home stretch, that's a lot of football. I mean, that's a lot of weeks. You're putting in a lot of work, and to put in all that work and to come up short, definitely, that hits home, that hurts. And, especially, I'm in Atlanta, I live in Tucker, Georgia, I'm right at home, and just to have all my people come out and, kind of come up short and then to see me, kind of down for a minute, it's tough. I mean, that's just the honest to God truth. It is very tough. But as soon as the game was over, I watched it on the iPad, and I saw the good things that we did. And you can't but help just kind of after watching the game, you realize you do a lot of good things, but you also realize there's so much you could have done differently, like more things that you could have done. You could have done this better. You could have done that better. And it just kind of makes you, want that more. You kind of want to go for that last little bit of, that last little crumb. You just want to reach out and grab that and attain that, and you just continue to work until you get that.
Go to the front row over here on the left side.
Jonathan, Kirby Smart talked about his first year at Georgia that some of the players didn't always embrace how hard practice was and everything that was asked, and he said the second year was a lot better. Did you notice that difference in the buy-in from year to 1 to 2?
Most definitely. I mean, you have a new coach come in, there's always going to be some type of, rebuilding period. We did have a lot of guys, our leadership was nowhere near what it is now. Last year we had a great group of senior leaders, and obviously that, speaks for itself. But practice was definitely different. We did team run, and it was just like another period of practice, you know what I mean? And just kind of not saying going through the motions. Everybody will work hard. You work and sweat. You're at football practice. It's not going to be easy. But we didn't make it as hard as we should have. And this past year, practice was crazy. You would practice so hard that you would think the game was practice and then the practice was the game, honestly. We had team run periods that we would do 15-play racks, and then start them over if it weren't good enough, if they weren't physical enough. You had your guys that you practice with every day, that you love, your brothers across from you who literally became your enemies for 12 minutes for a team run period because you knew that if you didn't go hard for him and he didn't go hard for you, you would not be able to do it in the game. And we just kind of adopted that mentality, and then it was really just something beautiful. It was literally poetry in motion, and you got guys that are out there trying to gun for each other's neck and stuff like that. And then as soon as it's over, you know, we're all back, you know, laughing and giggling, hanging out, you know, loving on each other. And like once you get to that point and you have everyone that knows what is expected when you step onto that field and knows what is expected at practice, it really is powerful.
We'll go standing over here on the right side.
Not sure how often you get to go against Terry Godwin in practice, but what do you see him doing on the field that gives defenses so much trouble, not only opposing defenses, but maybe in practice as well with the DBs at UGA?
Well, I mean, I don't know what you thought, but I'm still a DB. You know, I mean, I can lock Terry up at any time. You can ask him. But no, I joke around with him. You know, I've lined up in front of him a few times. I tell him I'll jam him off the line, but I know he'll blow right by me. He's a great guy. He's very elusive. He's just got great top speed. He runs his routes very, very well, and his hands are impeccable. I mean, that catch against Notre Dame, a bunch of the catches that he's made. He's just a tremendous athlete, and he works like no other. I mean, he'll work on his hands for 2 hours after a whole practice or after 707 or, you know, after something that was already taxing on his body, and he'll continue to do it. And he's just a player for us, man. And honestly, you just have to have that determination, especially at receiver, that you're just going to go up and catch everything. And that's what he believes, and that's why he does.
We'll go down here to the front row in the middle.
John, Georgia has recruited a lot of big guys on the offensive line. What's your view of how maybe the size and talent and ability on the O-line has changed while you've been at Georgia?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's not fun for me. I get to go against those guys every day, man. You got guys that are like 360 pounds and like 6'7" and no fat. And you're like, okay, well, you're supposed to be an offensive lineman, but you look like a, you know, Olympic bodybuilder out here, you know, trying to block me. But it's that level of competition and those guys that are big that, you know, you get them that big and you teach them how to move, like, that's dangerous. You know, you got guys like Andrew Thomas who, big body, you know, patient arms and just great offensive tackles. You got guys like Ben Cleveland, you know, he's huge. And I know you see him, he's literally a lumberjack. He's one of the strongest guys we have on the team, you know, in the weight room, and just physicality and explosiveness on the line. And he just grew up and he blew up, you know what I mean? He is probably one of the best linemen we have on our team, you know, and I think our whole offensive line is just continuing to get better and better and better. And we've got big guys who can move and also, you know, play multiple positions, like whether it's tackle or guard, and they can be interchangeable. And then that's what you need. You need all that versatility, especially on the O-line, because, you know, in the trenches, you don't really know what's going to happen.
We'll go over here on the left side on the third row in the middle.
Jonathan, did you think a couple of years ago that you'd be where you're at right now after a lot of the personal stuff that you've gone through? And what do you think these last few years have been for you, like growing up?
Definitely not. You know, I used to dream about these moments when I was a kid, man. All the cameras, all the lights, and just kind of being able to talk and just share my experiences. I definitely went through some tough times, and I think that is what allowed me to be here today. You know, the man I am right now. Just growing up in college, you know, growing up young, and growing up and not having my father, and just having my mom raise me, who did a heck of a job, wonderful woman, just a military mom, and she taught me never to quit. And when the going got tough, you know, I just kind of stuck it out and just continued to fight and keep my faith and just continue driving. I had so many people in my corner, so giving up was never an option. And then I just slowly started to see the story unfold. Some things don't always start off perfectly, you know. Started off bad, but I'm making it for the best, and I'm doing well. And I'm just glad, you know, to have all the support that I do from my family, my friends, my coaches, you know, the coaching staff, even our trainers, you know. It just speaks volumes to, you know, the kind of people they are and the kind of school Georgia is.
We'll go standing over here in back right.
Can you talk about the Auburn-Georgia rivalry, and do you think that the way things unfolded last year, did that sharpen that even more?
Yeah, we're 1-for-1. So, you know, we got them in the big one. It was a great game. But obviously they have an amazing football team, you know. They beat us pretty bad in the first game. We were very, very undisciplined and did not keep our composure. And they had their way. They ran the ball on us. They did some things that, you know, we knew they were going to do, and they still were successful because that's the type of football team they are. They have a great football team. And as long as we are doing what we need to do and we stay composed and disciplined and continue to play physical, you know, it'll be a great football game. It always is, and it normally is always one for the books.
If anyone has any questions for Jonathan, raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. Anything else? All right, well, one more right here.
You seem so serious all the time, Jonathan. What? I know he's not all the time, I guess, but what's your favorite non-serious Kirby moment?
I knew that was the question. He's not serious all the time. Honestly, he's a big kid. He loves to have fun. I mean, if you catch him out on the lake, that's like when he's really in his element, you know, just kind of having fun, you know, driving around guys around on, you know, the tubes and, you know, just enjoying. He's really just a big family guy, man. And when business is, you know, business is business, and he handles that accordingly. But, you know, when it's time to have fun, you know, kind of fellowship with people and everything, he's a loving guy. I want to say, what is my favorite moment? I think when I went to the lake, you know, that was probably the best moment I had. We went to his house, you know, we ate, we cooked out, and, you know, we just hung out and had fun on the water, man. It was just a great time.
We'll go front row, left in the middle.
Jonathan, last year, obviously, Sonny Michel, Nick Chubb, terrific running backs, very productive. What do you think of the running backs that are returning? You've seen these guys in practice and in games. How good do you think those guys are?
Well, you know, you're starting to hear the term RBU, you know, running back university. There's always great running backs at Georgia, and I mean, I feel like that's just going on since Georgia has, you know, been a powerhouse. Brian Harrion, Elijah Holyfield, Swift, we even got Zamir, you know what I'm saying? Those guys work so hard. Elijah Holyfield is an animal. I've never seen anybody work in the weight room as much as he does. I'm a D lineman, and he inspires me to go above and beyond because he tries to do the weight that I do. So I have to up the ante a little bit and do a little bit more just to, you know, make it seem like, all right, I'm bigger than you, bro. I have to, you know, make sure that you know that. But all those guys are going to be successful, man. I really have faith in them, and we have a great offensive line for them to block for them, and they just know their reads. They know how to play the game of football. They know what to do, when to do it, and the situations that they get put in, regardless good or bad, they always make something happen, you know, in those situations. So I'm confident in every single one of our running backs. I feel like we have a whole stable, you know, and a lot of weapons that we're going to use this year.